Right now, inside your March 26 Windows update, Microsoft has quietly planted a new feature. It is called Identity Verify. It is currently switched off, but it is sitting there in the code that runs your login screen waiting. When it goes live, it will require you to scan your face or submit a government ID just to run a program with administrator privileges on your own machine. And here is the part that stops most people cold. California has already passed a law voted through 76-0, not a single dissenting vote, requiring every operating system, including Linux, to collect your age and share it with every app developer who asks. That law takes effect on January 1st, 2027. So Microsoft built the infrastructure before the law even required it. I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to block this before it reaches you. There are 4 methods in this video, and they go from the simplest thing you can do right now in 2 minutes, all the way to the nuclear option that removes the problem entirely. I will tell you which one is right for your situation, and I will tell you what no longer works so you do not waste your time. Stay with me because one of these methods is going away very soon, and I will explain why before we are done. Before we get into the steps, you need to understand what you are dealing with. Because this is not just about one annoying pop-up, the architecture matters. Windows Age Verification is built on top of your Microsoft account. That account is the hook. Microsoft's system knows your age because you provided a date of birth when you created the account. When the Identity Verify feature goes live, Windows will use that account data to gate access to administrative functions on your own computer. If your date of birth on file marks you as a minor, even if you entered it incorrectly years ago and forgot, the system will treat you as a minor. Full stop. We know this because it has already happened to real users. On the 11 forum, in April 2026, a user documented exactly this situation. He contacted Microsoft support, allowed a remote session, and stepped away. When he returned, Windows Hello had been activated, BitLocker had been switched on, and Recall had been enabled, all without his request. When he then tried to correct his date of birth on his Microsoft account, the system flagged it as an age verification violation. His own machine, his own account. He was told his options were, give Microsoft what they want or wipe the drive. That is the risk. And the root of it is one thing, a Microsoft account attached to your Windows installation. So the methods in this video in order are these. Method 1 is what to do right now if you are already running Windows with a Microsoft account. Method 2 is how to set up a clean Windows installation without ever touching a Microsoft account, using a tool called Rufus. Method 3 is how to block the age verification feature itself in the registry for users on Windows 11 Pro or Enterprise. And method 4 is the longer-term option, what Linux actually looks like as an alternative, and when it makes sense to go there. Let me start with method 1, because it is the one most of you can do today in about 5 minutes. If you are already running Windows 11 with a Microsoft account, this is your first move. Switching to a local account severs the link between your Windows login and Microsoft's cloud identity system. Once you are on a local account, Windows has no age data to query. The Identity Verify system has nothing to pull from. Before you start, 2 important warnings. First, if you have BitLocker encryption enabled, which is the case on most Windows 11 home machines without you being told, save your BitLocker recovery key before doing anything. You can find it by searching BitLocker in the Start menu and opening BitLocker Drive Encryption. From there, you can save the recovery key to a file. Do that first. Second, some Microsoft apps, Teams, OneDrive, the Microsoft Store, will ask you to sign back into a Microsoft account separately. They will still work. They just will not be linked to your Windows login identity. Now the steps. Press the Windows key and the letter I together to open Settings. That is the keyboard shortcut. In Settings, look at the left-hand sidebar and click on Accounts. Then click on your info. You should see your profile picture and underneath it, your Microsoft account email address. Below that, you will see a section called Account Settings. Look for the link that says Sign in with a local account instead. Click that. Windows will show you a confirmation screen asking if you are sure. Click Next. It will then ask you to verify your identity by entering your Microsoft account password. Enter it and continue. On the next screen, Windows asks you to create your local account. Enter a username. This is just your name as it will appear on the machine. It does not need to be an email address. Set a password and a password hint. Make the password something you will remember because unlike a Microsoft account, there is no online recovery if you forget it. Click Next, then click Sign Out and finish. Windows will sign you out and sign you back in. You are now on a local account. Your files, your installed programs, your desktop, all of it stays exactly where it was. Only the identity layer has changed. One note for Windows 11 home users. If you do not see the sign in with a local account instead option, go to this address in your browser, account.microsoft.com. Sign in there, and from the account settings page, you can manage your account type. Alternatively, use the alternative registry method. Press the Windows key and R together, type regedit, and press Enter. Navigate to the path H key E, then Software, then Microsoft, then Windows, then Current Version, then Policies, then System. Look for a value called Block Microsoft Account. If it exists and is set to a value other than 0, double-click it and change it to 0. Restart the machine. The option should then appear in Settings. After you have switched, go back to Settings, Accounts, and confirm that your account now shows local account rather than your email address. That confirms the switch is complete. If you are setting up a new machine, reinstalling Windows, or if you simply want the cleanest possible separation from Microsoft's identity infrastructure, this is the right method. It uses a free open-source tool called Rufus, and it is currently the most reliable way to get Windows 11 onto a machine with a local account from the very first screen. You will need two things: a USB drive with at least 16 gigabytes of storage and a copy of the Windows 11 ISO file. You can download the official ISO directly from Microsoft's website by searching for Download Windows 11 on Microsoft.com and selecting the ISO download option. Save it somewhere so that you can find it easily. Now download Rufus, that is rufus.ie. Download the standard version, no installation required, it runs directly. Plug in your USB drive, open Rufus. At the top of the Rufus window, USB drive should be automatically selected in the device field. If you have more than one USB drive plugged in, make sure the right one is selected, because this process will erase everything on it. In the boot selection field, click the button that says Select and navigate to the Windows 11 ISO file you downloaded. Select it. After you select the ISO, Rufus will detect it as Windows 11 and automatically set the correct options. Click Start. A dialog box will appear with Windows customization options. This is the important step. You will see a list of checkboxes. The one you need is Remove Requirement for an online Microsoft account. Make sure that box is checked. You can also check Disable Data Collection if you want to reduce Windows telemetry from the first boot. Click OK. Rufus will write the installation files to your USB drive. This takes somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes depending on your USB drive speed. When it is done, you have a bootable Windows 11 installer that is already configured to skip the Microsoft account requirement entirely. To use it, restart your machine with the USB drive plugged in. On most computers, you access the boot menu by pressing either F12, F8, or Escape immediately after the machine starts. The exact key depends on your computer manufacturer and is usually shown briefly on screen during startup. Select the USB drive from the boot menu. Windows setup will begin normal. When it reaches the network connection screen, because you used Rufus with the right option checked, you will be offered the choice to create a local account directly. No Microsoft account required. No age data, no identity layer to exploit. One important note, as of early 2026, this method still works reliably on current release builds of Windows 11. Microsoft has removed some command line workarounds in insider builds. The Rufus method survives because it modifies the installation image directly before setup begins, rather than trying to bypass checks during setup. That makes it more robust than command line tricks. However, as future Windows versions introduce tighter requirements, always check the current Rufus documentation for any updated steps. This method is for users on Windows 11 Pro, Enterprise, or Education. If you are on Windows 11 Home, skip ahead to Method 4. Group Policy Editor is not available on Home. The Identity Verify feature added to Windows in the March 2026 update is currently gated behind a feature flag, meaning it is present in the code but not yet activated for the general public. Microsoft uses these flags to roll features out gradually. There are two things you can do at the group policy level right now that will make your machine significantly harder to push this feature onto once it does begin rolling out. Press the Windows key and R together. Type gpedit.msc and press Enter. Group Policy Editor will open. In the left panel, navigate to Computer Configuration, then Administrative Templates, Components, then Windows Update, then Windows Update for Business. In the right panel, look for Select the Target Feature Update version. Double-click it. In the window that opens, click the Enabled Radio button. In the field that says Target Version for Feature Updates, type 24H2. This locks your machine to the current feature update version and prevents Microsoft from automatically pushing new feature builds that may contain the activated version of the age verification system. Click Apply, then OK. Next, still in Group Policy Editor, navigate Administrative Templates, then System, then User Profile. Look for a policy called Turn Off the Advertising ID. Double-click it, set it to Enabled, click Apply, and OK. This reduces the telemetry connection between your user profile and Microsoft's cloud identity systems. Now, one additional step for the registry, which applies to both Pro and Home users. Press Windows and R again, type Regedit, press Enter. Now take it to HG Software, Policies, Microsoft, Windows, Current Version, Push Notifications. If the Push Notifications key does not exist, right-click on Current Version and create a new key named Push Notifications. Inside that key, right-click in the right panel and create a new Word 32-bit value. Name it No Toast Application Notification and set the value to 1. This prevents the age verification prompt from delivering toast notifications to your screen, even if the feature begins a background rollout. These group policy and registry steps do not disable the underlying identity verify component. Microsoft's user choice protection driver, UCPD.sys, actively resists modifications to the core feature flags, and attempting to directly disable identity verify through registry edits is not reliable. What these steps do is create a policy layer that slows and restricts the rollout path to your machine. The honest summary is this: group policy gives you time and friction, not a permanent wall. Microsoft can and does update group policy templates with new feature updates. These steps are a speed bump that buys you time to evaluate your next move. The 3 methods above address what is happening inside Windows. This method is about whether Windows is the right long-term environment for you at all, given where the architecture is heading. California's law takes effect January 1st, 2027. The Federal Parents Decide Act, if it passes, goes further. Windows 12, the next major version of Windows, is widely expected to launch in 2027, precisely when these laws. Microsoft has pre-built the enforcement infrastructure. The user choice protection driver already resists registry modifications. The identity verify component is already in the codebase. Each Windows update tightens the space available for workarounds. Linux does not have this problem. And before you close the video because you have heard the Linux pitch before and found it unconvincing, stay with me, because I want to be specific about what has and has not changed. The current state of Linux desktop in 2026 is different from where it was 5 years ago. Valve's Steam, which is the platform where most of you buy PC games, has invested heavily in Proton, its compatibility layer for running Windows games on Linux. As of 2026, the majority of the top 1,000 games on Steam run on Linux through Proton without requiring any technical configuration. You install Steam, you install the game, it runs. Office applications. LibreOffice handles the vast majority of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint files without issue. If you need to collaborate with others using Microsoft Office specifically, you can access Microsoft 365 through a web browser on Linux without any restriction. The distributions I would recommend for longtime Windows users are 2. Linux Mint, specifically the Cinnamon Edition, has a desktop layout that is immediately recognizable to anyone who has used Windows 7 or Windows 10. The Start menu equivalent is in the bottom left. The taskbar looks and works like Windows. Programs install through a software manager that works like the Microsoft Store but without the account requirement. The second option is Zorin OS, which is specifically designed for Windows migrants and includes a layout that can mirror Windows 11's interface. Both distributions are free. Both can be written to a USB drive using Rufus, the same tool from Method 2, and run as a live session from the USB before you install anything. That means you can boot from the USB, use Linux for an hour, see how it handles your actual programs and your actual workflow, and then decide. Nothing is committed until you choose to install. The transition is not instant and it is not frictionless. Some niche software has no Linux equivalent and requires either a virtual machine running Windows or a workaround. I will cover that in detail in the next video. But for a Windows user whose primary concern is privacy, account-free local operation, and ownership of their own hardware, Linux in 2026 is a credible daily driver in a way that was not broadly true even 3 years ago. Let me give you a clear summary of which method applies to your situation. If you are currently running Windows 11 with a Microsoft account and you want to keep using Windows, do Method 1 today. Switch to a local account, it takes 5 minutes, it severs the link between your login identity and Microsoft's age data, your files stay put, your programs stay installed. It is the lowest risk, highest impact thing you can do right now. If you are planning a fresh install of Windows, whether on a new machine or a rebuild, use Method 2, the Rufus method. It gives you a clean Windows 11 installation with no Microsoft account from the very first screen. It is the most robust option for new setups. If you are on Windows 11 Pro and want to stay on Windows while buying time against the rollout, add Method 3 on top of Method 1. The group policy steps and the registry change will not protect you permanently, but they create a policy layer that makes automatic enforcement harder and slower. If you are on Windows 10 rather than Windows 11, you have more time. Windows 10 reaches end of security support in October 2028. Microsoft has committed to security updates through that date. You are not facing the same immediate pressure. Use that time to evaluate your options, because 2028 is not far away and the landscape you are stepping into after it ends is the one I have been describing in this video. If you have been thinking about Linux and want to see what it actually looks like on your hardware before committing to anything, download Linux Mint. Use Rufus to write it to a USB drive, boot from the USB, and spend an hour in it. Nothing is permanent, nothing is installed. It is the most honest way to evaluate it. We started with a feature hiding in a Windows update that most people do not know is there. Identity Verify. Control flags for age verification. Already in the code, already resistant to simple registry edits, waiting for the law to catch up. The good news is that you have real options right now, and the best one, switching to a local account, takes less time than it took to watch this section of the video. Go do that today. The next video in this series is the one I promised a moment ago. What Linux actually looks like for a Windows user in 2026. Not the glossy version, not the nightmare version. Real hardware, real applications, real workflow, and an honest answer to the question of which things work immediately, which things need an hour of setup, and which things genuinely still have no good substitute. That is the video that determines whether Linux belongs in your future. I will see you there. If this video was useful to you, subscribing means you will not miss it when it lands. This is not a general invitation, it is a specific one. And one more thing before you go, drop a comment below and tell me which method you are using. Method 1, 2, 3, or 4. I read every single one and it helps me know exactly what to cover next. If you ran into a problem with any of these steps, write it down there too. Somebody else in this community probably hit the same wall, and the answer might already be waiting for them in the replies.